Hello again, thanks for being here. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you were here last week, you'll know I started the book of Hebrews from the New Testament. If you missed that, I'm going to put a link in the description box. We only covered the first 4 verses, and one of those verses described Jesus as being far superior to angels. So today we're going to look at the angels and why he's considered far superior. I'm also going to put another link in the description box to the jewishvirtuallibrary.org, their section on angels and angelology, which is very detailed and very interesting about the Jewish look at angels in the Bible. I've heard people say, in talking about this, about the book of Hebrews, that the Jews worshipped angels, but that is not true. But they did have a lot of thoughts about angels and things they believed about angels. First of all, in Hebrew, in the Old Covenant, it uses the word malak, M-A-L-A-K-H, using the English letters for the word angel. And the basic meaning of that word is messenger. One sent, or one who brings a message, and we see angels do that a lot. They also speak of angels in groups called the host of heaven, or the heavenly host, and sometimes they are praising God, and sometimes they appear in visions, and sometimes act as armies against evil spirits. There's also something called the angel of the Lord, and it's unclear when this angel appears, often as a human or more than one human, almost always male humans, never female. And then there's sort of confusion. Is the person speaking directly to God or to a celestial being? And so it's called the angel of the Lord. There are cherubim and seraphim. They are found around the throne of God, and we see them in visions and inscribed on the Ark of the Covenant in statue form in gold. And they are sometimes called beasts in the visions, but they appear to guard the throne of God. And then there are also guardian angels, and there are 4 angels that are named quite often by name. The 4 most famous are Matthew, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael, and they seem to have specific roles to play, and so they are named specifically. And then the different groups of Jews gave different emphasis to angels. The Essenes were very interested in angels and believed that in the final battle between good and evil, in which they participate, the angels from the heavenly host would battle with them against evil. Pharisees didn't seem to pay much attention to angels. They didn't mention them very much. The Sadducees don't believe in celestial beings or angels or resurrection, humans becoming in spirit form after being resurrected from the dead, things that other branches of Judaism and definitely Christianity believed in. And then the writers or the students of a form of Jewish mysticism called Kabbalah or Kabbalah, they designated the hierarchy of angels, the archangels, the warrior angels, messenger angels, all the way down through to human beings who are less than the angels as far as supernatural powers and abilities. So that's what these Jewish people would have known or believed about angels. And we're going to see why the author of Hebrews says that Jesus is superior to these angels. It says, "For to which of the angels did God ever say, 'You are my son, this day I have begotten you'?" That is a reference to Jesus' baptism. You'll remember John the Baptist baptized him in the Jordan River, and immediately thereafter there was a voice from heaven that said this. This might be a reflection, this particular quote, of those people at the earliest of Christian times who were called adoptionists. Many of the Jewish believers, like the Ebionites, were adoptionists. In other words, they believed that Jesus was a human being who, because of his character and his purity, was adopted by God at his baptism, when God said, "You are my son, this day I have begotten you." And of course, others believe that Jesus was always God, that he was always the Son of God from eternity. So those were two ways of being Christian back then. Again, when he leads the firstborn into the world, he says, "Let all the angels of God worship him." So of the angels, he said, he makes his angels winds and his ministers a fiery flame. So they've got responsibility, but they are to be like the wind, like the flame. They're out doing things, but the Son is seated on a throne. Your throne, O God, stands forever and ever. Now here, the Son is definitely called God. So there's no question in the mind of the Hebrew writer that Jesus was God. Whether he was a human first and became God, or whether he was God's Son from eternity, is not particularly clear here. It is in John, but John was probably written after Hebrews. It's always good to keep in mind when things were written. Hebrews may have been written much earlier, and I'll tell you why when we talk about sacrifices. Anyway, your throne, O God, stands forever and ever, and a righteous scepter is the scepter of your kingdom. You love justice and hated wickedness, and it's because of that God anointed you, your God anointed you with the oil of gladness above your companions. So Jesus is anointed with the oil of gladness and placed above any other celestial being, any other human being, because of his love of justice and hatred of wickedness. A righteous scepter, a righteous God. And at the beginning, O Lord, you established the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. And I want to turn to the beginning of the Gospel of John, where it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." In John's community, Jesus is definitely this Word or Logos, the Sophia, the wisdom of God from the Old Covenant, from all eternity, through whom the earth was created. That same is the Son, Jesus. So the Word was with God, the Word was God, he was in the beginning with God. All things came through him, and without him nothing came to be. And what came to be through him was life, and this life was the light of the human race. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. And then we see in verse 9, the true light which enlightens everyone was coming into the world. And it says, verse 10, he was in the world, and the world came to be through him. So that description of the Son agrees with this writing of Hebrews. They're both telling us that at the beginning, somehow, through the divine process, the thoughts and ideas and image of God became the material world. And what we see in the material world, or what we understand there to be in the material world, are there because they were in the mind of God, the one, the point of origination, the one God, the creator and sustainer of all things. Now, it says that these were the works of your hands. Remember, whenever it's speaking about creation, the human words have to be metaphors, because we cannot actually conceive of God. We don't know the spiritual words to use because we're not at that spiritual level. It says he created through his hands. That is metaphorically, they will perish, but you will remain. They will grow old like a garment. You will roll them up like a cloak, and like a garment they will change. But you are the same, and your years will have no end. Wow, isn't that something that should be comforting to us? It should be comforting to know that even though this world may end, everything we've ever built or owned has fallen apart and decayed, and we can see the tallest mountains being shaken in a volcano, and the edges of the ocean changing as the water rises. Everything material is temporary, it's illusionary, it's subject to change, except God. But to which of the angels, it ends, has he ever said, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool? That is what we believe was said to Jesus in the heavenly temple by God after his death, burial, resurrection, and ascension. Sit at my right hand. That is the place of honor, the place of authority, until I make your enemies your footstool. To the angels, he said, are they not all ministering servants sent to serve for the sake of those who are to inherit salvation? So they are sent to serve humanity. Humanity is what is capable of inheriting salvation. Salvation is for humans. And so the angels, whether they're here as messengers or here as guardians, or however they are here, they're here to serve humanity and to worship God. So next time we're going to go on to chapter 2, where there's going to be some more information for us about why these people should hold fast to their Christian faith and not go to looking to some other faith or to some other being, whether it be angels or human, for their salvation. So I hope you can join with me then when we start chapter 2. And in the meantime, have a great week. I'll see you really soon. Bye for now.